educated the same way and taught the same things, they're going to tie money to whether or not you teach those things. Whether it's that evolution is a fact, homosexual agenda, all those kinds of things will come with a national recognized education curriculum. And I think we need to do it our own way, frankly. That's part of what the Revolutionary War was about, was being able to govern ourselves. And Alabama should have the opportunity to do things the way they want to do it. And California, Massachusetts, those kind of places want to do it their way. They need to do it their way, and let's see who wins in the end.
Thank you.
Y'all tell us. All right.
Go ahead. Okay. How do you hold this? Okay, I've got two questions. First, Senator Wagner, what you were talking about, the senators' races where we have a chance to win the Republican seats. Can you forward me an email with everybody's name on it, and hopefully people here will forward to their friends who may know contacts in those districts. Even though you don't live in that district, you can influence the vote in that district. You know what I mean?
Mark, if you give me your email address, I'll have that done in the morning.
And then I'll put it on my candidate list that I forward to at least 250 people every election.
You got it.
And second, what about illegal immigration? Both of you.
That's Scott's specialty. I just follow his lead on it, okay?
No, I believe again, I'm going to say if about 20 times here tonight, if you give us the opportunity to lead the state Senate, I think you'll see strong and effective illegal immigration reform passed in the state of Alabama. I think it's interesting to note that we tried to pass one of the most comprehensive and sweeping immigration reform bills in the country in 2008. At that time, we were told by the number of influential people across the state. Lowell Barron actually stood across the mic from when we were trying to amend another bill. And I'll just go ahead and tell you. And as we were putting amendments on another gentleman's bill, trying to strengthen it up to be more like my piece of legislation, he would look in the gallery to lobbyists who would tell him yes or no on the amendments. That's an absolute fact. If he was here, I would tell it. That's how much I love him. That's another thing. You want that to continue. But I do think you'll see something pass in the legislature. I think it will be strong. There are some limits on what the federal government says you can and cannot do, supposedly. But we're going to make sure that we do everything that we think the state of Alabama can do. We're not asking them for permission. It is their contractual obligation to protect us from invasion. And for those folks who said, well, we'll lose jobs, the economy will be hurt. What is happening now, this is clearly a jobs issue, where illegal immigrants are displacing the sons and daughters of Alabama. We were not elected to represent people from other countries. We were elected by you to represent you and your children, and I believe we're all on the same page and we intend to do that.
My observation is in regard to the way bills are brought up, not giving you time to prepare, read them and hear from your constituency how they feel about them. Given a majority in your particular legislative seat, I would ask and propose that you put forth an agenda on Fridays, publish what you are going to bring up in the next week, so that people have time to respond, so that you have time to read the bills and know what you're voting on. Many people in Alabama are aware of this ridiculous practice on a national basis. Few of us are aware of the fact that that has been a problem in our own state. Use it as a campaign issue.
Yes.
The last 2 weeks of the session, you're going to have to deviate from that, because you're going to have to address things as they come up from the other house, so that good things don't fall through the crack.
Jim, if we're in the majority, the people and the members of the Senate will have proper notice about legislation that's going to be on the agenda for the next legislative day. I don't know how many days will be in our rules, but there'll be proper notice. So the senators will know what's coming up, and I imagine we can put it online, so, the public will know also. Great idea, and it's something we've already discussed.
Gentlemen, to the best of your knowledge, is it legal or illegal for citizens to have video cameras in state, senate, or house sessions?
I assume it's legal because we look up to the gallery a lot of times, and we are being videoed, and I don't think anyone's ever made an issue of it, to my knowledge, but most legislative days, we're being videoed by someone.
Yeah, my opinion is that, I'm not doing this right, I believe probably everything except for a caucus meeting, which is, where the Republican senators or the Democrat senators get together to talk about what their agenda or their strategy is. But any public meeting, from a committee hearing to session to any of those things, as far as I know, are public, and they can have one of those little cameras like that, which makes life tough, because sometimes your nose is itching badly. Mine's already started to itch. What was, did somebody run you out at some time?
Just this last Monday, I got just a couple of short videos of the Hoover City Council in session. After I went to the back, what seemed to be two Hoover City policemen came up to me as I was taking the batteries out of my camera, cheap $30 camera here, and they told me that usually they have a sign that says everybody that has cameras has to stand at the back to film, and the excuse I heard was, oh, that video cameras distract the councilors and mayors, excuse me.
Well, I think we would welcome them. I mean, they are distracting, and you have to act a lot better and those kind of things. But I don't think there's a problem with it. I mean, again, you're going to see a Senate that is trying to do the right things, and there won't be hidden votes in committee and those kind of stuff. So everything's going to be posted on the record, so people might as well see how it happens.
All right.
Hi. Regarding illegal immigration, in my opinion, priority number 1 should be closing the borders.
I agree with that. We don't have very much control. I hope Washington actually does what they need to do. What I wanted to mention a few minutes ago is in 2008, when we tried to do something about immigration, other states around were passing some measures, albeit some of them were weak in surrounding sister states, but they were getting some things done. Our legislature just bowed up completely and said, no, we're not going to do anything. But since that time, almost every surrounding state has seen a decrease in their numbers of illegal immigrants. The Birmingham News, which is not the, Encyclopedia Britannica by any means, they say we've seen a 30% increase in the number of illegals since 2008. Now, I stood at the mic and told them that, and they acted like we were crazy. So we are paying for it right now, currently in taxpayer services, benefits, education, the whole 9 yards, loss of jobs, for the failures of the leadership crime, for the failures of the leadership of the Senate that is currently in place. And Mo Barron himself, if you ask him about immigration, I've been told this twice out of his district, his campaign. If you ask him what he's going to do, he says, I'm going to do what's best for the state of Alabama. You keep pressuring him, he will continue to say, I'm going to do what's best for the state of Alabama. Which means I'm not going to do anything about it, because what he believes is what's best. So I hope people up there figure out what's at stake.
Certainly hope you get those borders closed so we can keep those Mississippians out.
The Floridians are about as bad.
No, seriously, the question I got is pretty simple. I think everybody in here has paid attention over the past year or so, maybe even if they've never followed politics before. as I have not over the past couple of years. Learning that the power structure in this state is Paul Hoover and the AA. What you gonna do to fight them?
We are waiting for him to retire, okay? And I think those days are coming pretty soon. But he is the 800-pound gorilla. And let me tell you how he got there. He has an army of teachers who pay dues every month to his political action committee. They get involved in campaigns and give hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to candidates who will vote like them for 4 years. They will become his puppet over a 4-year period. And that's how he gets so much power, because he gets people elected to the House and Senate because he's got more money to give out. And when he gives you a campaign donation, he expects you to vote with him for 4 years. And not many people, groups, organizations can compete with that. He's just got an army of teachers that get involved in AEA. A-Vote is their political action committee, and they just give out millions of dollars during campaigns. And when he retires or goes away some other way, AEA will not be an 800-pound gorilla. There's nobody in this state that can take the place of Paul Hubbard.
Anybody come up and see it behind him and still be battling?
Well, I would like to see the state stop taking up their dues for them. That's what taxpayers do. And, I sponsored that bill one time in the House, Jeff, I don't know if you knew that. And that was in the days when no one would co-sponsor it. You would have thought it was the plague just saying it. But people are finally realizing, and as constituents realize, the undue influence that organization has. And there are plenty of great teachers who don't understand necessarily what they're doing down there. As people have understood that undue influence, more and more legislators have said, we're going to have to break this, we're going to have to break this. And again, I think you'll see some of that if leadership changes.
Is there any other AEA, any other things you can do to... Is there any other things you can do to reduce the power of the AA once you're...
Well, I think that's the biggest one, just because, as Jabo said, their strength is in the fact that they raise, what, $4 million made a quadrennium or something. It's like $200,000 a month they raise for their political, so it's more than that. So I think that's the biggest thing, and they've done that in a couple other states, and they've seen membership drop. We have to do a better job of going out there and talking to our teachers and our organizations to explain what we're trying to do. I know I've co-sponsored with Mary Sue a couple of times some school choice legislation. That was even maybe vouchers at that time. And really, when you talk with them on one-on-one, the teachers back home are okay. They understand independence, unless they're just militant. But I think we just have to do better at our messaging, talking to people. That's what it's all about. That's what politics is about, is getting out and talking to people, be informed, let your neighbors know what's going on. Let me point out something that we really need to do before I forget this and drive off and I'm upset myself. Please get involved in campaigns these last few weeks. If you live in a Republican district and your guy's going to win, do what I call missionary politics. Go to that next district that's not, and help that person go door to door, help that person make phone calls. We got to do it. I don't know if, maybe y'all do.